Welcome to the Cup of Nurses podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Cup of Nurses podcast with your hosts, Matt Solarchik and Peter Findera. Welcome. We are a podcast where we're going to tackle current health news and hot nursing topics, one conversation at a time.
Yes, we are, Matthew.
How you doing today, Peter?
I'm doing good. Had a long day. Just hanging out doing a podcast.
And guys, we're back in Chicago, so that's awesome.
Ooh, and it's warm. It's warmer here than it was in Oakland.
I know. For some reason, Oakland, guys, it's warmer there in August instead of the summertime now. So we didn't expect that, and I think I'm kind of upset I didn't get a tan.
Right, yeah, I think their winters or their summers are now, or in August, right? So it's summer here and over there too, but we were in July, so it's still kind of chilly. A little chilly for me.
Did you enjoy a nursing contract?
Yeah, man, that was fun. It was real fun, good experience. Highly recommend it, and I would definitely do it again.
And we felt like we didn't work for 2 months. Like we had a little vacation, because work was nice there.
Yeah, it wasn't as stressful as it is over here. Recommend it, like I said before.
All right, guys, let's roll with it. So today we're going to talk about myths and tips, or myths and facts about gluten. The disinformation that we have about gluten today is really interesting. And we're also going to talk about autism, how high levels of estrogen in the womb is linked to autism based on a journal that was published by Molecular Psychiatry.
Yeah. So gluten, if you guys know, gluten refers to proteins in certain grains like wheat, barley, rye, and some people are insensitive to gluten. It triggers the antibodies to release, cause inflammation.
Yeah. So gluten is like this little endosperm. It's a tissue which is produced in the seed, and it kind of hangs out there. And when it's getting grounded down in the process, it's flour, like a byproduct.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know, endosperm is something that covers the sperm and basically gives off nutrition to the sperm because you got the seed, then the sperm inside the seed.
Does the sperm have a helmet?
I'm sure it does, man. I mean, seeds are rough. Imagine big in your head against like the seed wall.
Yeah, what a strong piece of wheat.
Concussion. Kids didn't come out with a concussion, man. With a plant.
Yeah, and like also we have to realize that not all grains are the same. So there's other alternatives for grains that are not gluten, which is oatmeal, one source, but you just have to be careful that it's not like contaminated with other products that are made with wheat. There's also quinoa, which is something like wild rice, buckwheats, and also corn.
Yeah, and brown rice. So if you go to Chipotle, you got that bright brown rice option, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you like corn? For some reason, I feel like it doesn't digest properly.
Oh, I like corn. Yeah, I like corn on the cob. I'm not so for much like already just the corn, but I like eating off the cob.
What about a nice barbecue and then put
with a burger on the side
butter on it?
Ooh, with a burger.
I could go for that after this.
Yeah. So even though these foods, like Matt said, are gluten free, they are made in similar factories next to foods with gluten. So a lot of times these machines, have residue on them. And that's what causes the gluten to be in a non-gluten food. They got to prep their machines right, so you see that gluten-free label on it. It means it was properly made.
But the question is, should you even worry about gluten? And that's something we're going to get into later on in the episode.
Yes, we are.
So let's talk about like the current health news. The study that was found or published by this journal, it's saying high levels of estrogen is found in the womb, and it's directly correlated with autism. As we know, autism is probably something recent that we started hearing about, right?
Yeah. This study looked, right, man, like it studied the amniotic fluid.
The amniotic fluid of the babies.
Yeah, so that's different from the estrogen you have floating through your body. It's going to be similar to it, but it's not going to be the same amount as in your blood.
Yes.
So there's a different way to calculate that, yeah.
But high levels of estrogen in the blood is linked to high estrogen in the womb, which is correlated to this.
Okay, somebody with high estrogen would naturally have high estrogen in the amniotic fluid, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. It's pretty cool.
I know.
I mean, it's not really cool, but it's cool. It's cool information, but it's serious issue that happens.
Definitely. And these scientists from the University of Cambridge and the State Serum Institute of Denmark measured 4 prenatal steroid hormones, which includes androgens, the amniotic fluid. There's also things like estrogen that they checked for, and there's 2 other hormones. And their study was very, very accurate on what's going on. So they took, out of the 100 pregnancies sampled that they've collected over the years.
You said 100 pregnancies?
100,000 pregnancies, yeah.
Oh, man.
So it's actually pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's a big study.
and they specifically checked the fetuses for this hormone or estrogen. So out of 177 fetuses, 98 of them were positive for developing autism later on, that they've correlated with this elevated estrogen.
Wow. So 98 out of 100,000 pregnancies?
Well, 177. So they reduced the sample size to give you like an idea.
Oh,
of
so
how,
sample size itself was 177, right?
Yes.
It's still a lot, man.
to check. Yeah,
That's a lot of people going through it.
it's. I mean, if you're looking at different studies, it's like kind of small. But how often are you able to kind of, check the fetus and do tests on it? Like not a lot of mothers will allow that to happen.
The fact that they started with 100,000 and narrowed it down to just the 177, it's pretty good of them too. Means the sample size was very similar, per subject.
And I feel like autism, it's very stressful on like families, and it'd be great to cure.
Yeah.
And right now, maybe we're in the process of it, but we have to solve that issue of babies being born with autism with like the care that's happening during pregnancies. Right. And what's interesting is you start thinking about, why do you have high levels of estrogen? And there's actually something called hormone disruptors that are at work, and they're found in water, our environment, like the plastics, beauty products, especially for females, that like literally these chemicals are literally leaking into our skin, into our bodies, and it's disrupting the thyroid and everything else and causing this imbalance in hormones.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of these, these toxins, so your body could basically fight them off for the most part in little amounts. But if you have a little bit amount in your like shampoo and a little bit in your dish soap and your body wash, that adds up. The FDA or whoever is in control of this isn't looking for such a broad basis. They're looking per product. So yeah, it could, let's say 1%. 1% could be safe in one product, but then if you have it in another product, 1% as well, that's 2%. And it just adds up in your body. And everything gets absorbed. Your skin is very porous. Your scalp is very porous. Me and Matt decided that, me and Matt were talking about if you could absorb things through like your skull.
Yeah, because technically you have dead tissues in the hair. And how does that work?
Yeah, I'm probably could look into that beforehand, but your body is porous in general. Your skin is, and you have skin on your head, so obviously that skin's gonna be porous too. That it gives out oil.
Yeah,
the oil has to come from somewhere, and same way if it comes out, it has a way to enter as well. So little bit amounts are not gonna do you that much bad, but things add up fairly quickly.
Yeah, and these hormone disruptors are actually causing symptoms in the body, and that's like a sign that your hormones out of balance. So it's not a good time to have a kid if you feel like this is happening.
Especially because it affects estrogen. It's like your sex hormone.
It is.
You need that to produce another human being.
Yeah.
And you're already messed with genetics on that small of spectrum.
Right. Side effects of these hormone disruptors will include weight gain, mood swings, anxiety, loss of sleep, and skin issues, which some may be cancer. So that's like a cascade of things. And I feel like it's hard to pinpoint anxiety is because my nails are, formaldehyde coated or something. It's hard to like correlate that, but we have to be asking ourselves greater questions, and questions that our current society is not asking, because we believe that the government's probably, the FDA is doing their job, and
chemtrails.
Yeah, that's a way different topic. But yeah, like we're trusting the FDA to like with products that we're consuming, and they're doing a bad job because there's some products that, let's just get into it in that case, huh?
Yeah, like that
One
FDA,
of them.
We trust the FDA with giving us safe products for consumption, and we're kind of basing off their information, kind of where are they getting their information from.
Yeah.
They're funded by somebody, and then they ultimately make decisions, like who's making those decisions.
Yeah. And the FDA, like their job is to basically regulate and screen these products, whether they're safe for us. And a lot of the screens that they do is basically, if I'm selling milk, I'm going to run a study on milk and give that to the FDA and see if they approve like my milk product. Like the FDA is not an independent body where they're running their own research. That's why for a very long time, these food companies, like they're trying to like Coca-Cola, for example, all these high sugar foods, like they were doing their own studies and like avoiding milk, and it's a lobbyist thing, man, to be honest. I don't want to get into politics.
Yeah, it definitely can. It's a giant organization, and they have so much testing to do. I'm sure people slip through the cracks, or certain tests are flawed that we don't know about, and that's how it works. So you got to be careful once you consume.
Yeah, and we found a few products that are linked in like female skincare beauty stuff that's linked to hormone disruptors, which is causing these high levels of estrogen. One of them, which is very ironic, how it's banned in Europe, but it's not banned in the United States. What are we doing, guys? Formaldehyde. It's a known carcinogen. Like literally, they spray our cadavers in an anatomy lab with this stuff, and it smells really bad as a distinct smell or like taste in your mouth too.
Like, you know how you go to lab class and you know the cadavers are out. You know, you could smell them and you know they're out, and that's the formaldehyde.
Makes you want to vomit.
Yeah.
And this stuff is found in nail products. It's found in hair dye. It's found in fake eyelashes. And I don't know how it gets absorbed, man, but somehow it's messing with our body.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, our skin's very porous. Whatever we put on, you know, that's where it's going to go inside. Like, you got to be careful with tattoos. That's why even with tattoos, yeah, they cut your skin. And if you have a poor tattoo artist, it's not clean, it's going to go to your bloodstream. Same with skincare products. You keep applying your moisturizer over and over and over again. You keep using the same conditioner, the same shampoo over and over again. It's going to stay on your skin. It's eventually going to get absorbed.
It's like my thing with fluoride. So I went to the dentist, and I had a conversation with them. I told them, hey doc, I haven't used fluoride for like 6 months. So if my teeth look worse, let me know. And he's like, yeah, actually, they don't look bad. And he's like, you know what? I'm tired of all these dentists pushing this agenda, you know? So this guy, I'm like, okay, it's going to be a good conversation. He's like, to be honest, like, there isn't proof that like Colgate and all these products that have fluoride actually prevent cavities. They prevent some. And a lot of us don't know that these cavities that these products prevent is like when you're like 65 plus. Because I guess there's different types of cavities or the way they're getting like, they're being caused on our teeth. So in our population, if you're under like, let's just say 65 or whatever, like technically fluoride doesn't serve any benefit to you.
Yeah.
What it does do is prevents the pineal gland from producing, I think, a hormone, which if you want to get into conspiracies, I guess it raises our consciousness. So, man, I mean, fluoride, man, if you guys want to get into something deeper here, Hitler, jeez. Okay, anyways, whatever, we'll do it, you know. Hitler actually used fluoride to for eugenics.
Wow.
And when they gave high dose to the Jews, they actually weren't able to produce babies.
Wow.
So you never know. Maybe fluoride is causing infertility. We gotta find a study on that.
Yeah, and I think fluoride's a mouthwash as well. You know, so you imagine if you're swallowing some of it.
That I don't know. I know it's in toothpaste though.
I think so. Maybe some fluoride. I can take my labels.
And it's our drinking water.
Oh yeah, there is some because it gets cleaned by fluoride, doesn't it? Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure fluoride is one of the filtration processes for water. No, it's pretty crazy. I wonder if it's on a bottled water label. I wonder if companies got to label it like fluoride water. Or something.
We do have to push for that.
I don't think they would not label that. No one would drink water that's not fluoride. But some places do say fluoride free. Those are like products. Not necessarily
you would
water.
need a reverse osmosis filter to completely get any byproducts out in your water. That's something I've been thinking about to invest.
Yeah. But if fluoride's in your mouthwash, don't swallow your mouthwash. You know, don't drink it. Tide Pods. There was a big thing about eating Tide Pods. One of those had fluoride.
Yeah.
So if you've been eating Tide Pods, you probably should stop.
But you have to realize that our sublingual gland, which is underneath our tongue, is so dense with the bloodstream. Just like that's why chewing tobacco is great, right?
Yeah.
Right, the gum that like you absorb this stuff, unfortunately, without us even realizing.
Yeah, certain pain medication we give sublingual. Can we give morphine sublingually?
No,
Something,
but nitro.
Nitro sublingually, but I think there's some pain medication you give sublingually too. That like works really well as well.
We're drifting off topic.
Yeah, a little bit. But.
So another skin product that is for sure estrogen stimulating is parabens. So any beauty cosmetic medication with propyl, isopropyl, butyl, it's on there. It's a preservative to help makeup last longer in the shelf, and unfortunately, it's really bad for you. Yeah. A study published by the Journal of Toxicology in 2004 detected parabens in breast tumors and discussed estrogen-like properties.
Wow.
Discussed. So, like, while these aren't directly correlated with the cancer, it's recommended to avoid these ingredients, and yet females are just using these products. I'm sure not everybody, and I'm sure there's probably great beauty products that are paraben free and everything, and I think it's worth investing a little more for it.
Yeah, it's a healthier option. You know, if it's your body, if like I said, if you're doing a lot of these, especially putting on a lot of makeup, that makeup's going to add up with all these parabens. I guess it's going to get ingested. You put them around your eye. Imagine how much, that I don't know what kind of gross makeup you use, but like whatever they put around their eyes, I'm sure it gets inside your eyeball at some point. Eyeshadow or
maybe it's eyeliner
or the powders. Imagine you're powdering your face, and all that you're breathing it in. It's getting in your eyes, getting in your nose, getting sublingually. You're knocked out. How are you gonna breathe?
The estrogen is getting knocked out.
Yeah,
it's getting knocked up. All
That's
right.
funny.
So
just like some of these ladies out there,
Yeah. Last one that we're going to discuss is sulfate, aka ether. So it's known as a formal industrial degreaser, and it makes things foamy. And our conditioners have it, makes it nice and smooth, and yet it's in our,
Yeah.
I try to get sulfate free. I'm pushing for that myself.
Yeah, there's sulfate-free soaps and stuff. Like a lot of them have our label to like sulfate-free, and that's good. Same with like the diethyl glycol. It's in our like skin products as well, and it's like can lead to severe kidney and like brain damage for the most part.
Even BPA. BPA is like all those plastics were like it was like a big thing where your bottle started saying BPA free. Like it's a plastic that is found in it's a chemical that's found in plastics, and it mimics the hormone estrogen, which like it just wreaks a bunch of havoc and imbalances everything.
Yeah, I know there's a big phase of like having BPA free materials. I'm not sure if it's still labeled like that. It has to be, right? I completely forgot about like BPAs. I haven't checked the label for BPA free for a while.
I'm going to start after I started researching for this podcast episode. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, I'm about to go home, take everything out of the cabinets and look for BPA.
And what's worse is these studies show more than 90% of Americans have some kind of BPA in their body when they test. Yeah. So it's like
they'll get BPA mixed up with EPA.
Yeah, even mercury, man. 84% of the world's fish are contaminated with mercury. And mercury is the reason why it's in our oceans because it's a pollutant that is caused by coal power plants and the byproducts of gold mining and cement production, iron and steel production as well. And we just flooded our oceans with it, man. Now you can't eat a shrimp or a piece of tuna, salmon.
Right, mercury got so bad that they used to have mercury in thermostats. And people used to break them, and you could play with mercury.
I used to play with mercury.
And then, like, that's illegal now. Or not illegal, but you can't put mercury in thermostats anymore. They use a similar liquid to it, but it's not as toxic. So imagine you're playing with this stuff, and it was going inside your skin through your pores and your fingers. So these skincare, this just shows proof to the skincare product that you're putting on, and they're getting absorbed to our body.
Yeah. All right, ladies, that's enough for that. So
no more makeup. That's it.
Yeah, just you guys are beautiful and just stay that way, But anyways, just easy on the makeup. Be cautious of what you're, putting on your face. Check the labels and make sure your makeup is on fleek.
Yeah, these research studies that we looked at, they show that higher estrogen causes autism in kids.
Yeah,
and it's a struggle.
Next topic of discussion. Back to this gluten. I'm actually not passionate, but I like this topic because I really thought for a very long time that me switching to gluten-free products and spending a little more was worth it. And after, looking at the facts, I think it's more a myth.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it, what I had for dinner. Had a sloppy Joe. The buns for sure had gluten.
Yeah.
I had mac and cheese. Probably had gluten. And I was fine. That's all flour for the most part. A lot of carbs.
It's for sure unhealthy. Yeah. So
my buns for sure didn't have the gluten-free label on it. So the mac and cheese pasta, no, it was for sure gluten. Maybe gluten was probably added, just to mess with me for this episode.
Yeah. So we know what gluten is. It's found in grain. It's found in wheat, barley, and rye. So we can move forward on that. Commonly in bread, pasta, pizza, cereal, anything with those three ingredients as gluten.
Yeah, and then your alternatives for those would be brown rice, buckwheat, wild rice, and quinoa.
Yeah. So the population that should avoid gluten is people with celiac disease. They develop like an immune reaction by eating gluten, and it causes inflammation. It damages the intestinal tract and part of the body. That's the people that have celiac disease should completely avoid gluten. That's without a doubt. But according to studies and statistics, only 1% of the population has celiac disease. So most people shouldn't be gluten-free.
Yeah, that's 1%. And it's a genetic disease, right? Because, so you got to be born with it, ultimately. You don't just I'm guessing some people do develop it out of the blue, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But usually you're born with celiac disease. So it's not like you're non-celiac one day and then bang, next day you're gluten-free. If that happens, it's the process develop over time and it's with your genetics.
Yeah, and people that have celiacs and just kind of go with the symptoms, what happens is their absorption starts halting because the intestines are literally getting damaged with this little villi, and everything, and they start developing symptoms. They continue and just gets worse and worse. And like if it's left untreated, it's been linked to iron deficiencies, miscarriages, lactose intolerance, different vitamin and mineral deficiencies due to the lack of absorption. We have pancreatic insufficiency. That's an interesting correlation. I'm not sure how that process exactly works.
That has been linked with diabetes as well, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Gallbladder malfunction. So
yeah, I once thought for some reason you got your gallbladder removed.
I had appendicitis when I was in 8th grade.
I don't know why I thought gallbladder. I'm like, wow, man, had his gallbladder removed.
You're probably wondering why I take those pills to help me digest fat, right?
Nah, I was thinking why you don't take any kind of medication. I was like, this guy maybe you don't need a gallbladder.
It's all the broccoli. And if you're gluten sensitive, you might develop symptoms such as bloating, diarrhea, abdominal pain, headaches. You might be feeling tired, and those skin issues. So if you're feeling any of those, you should start maybe thinking of going to a doctor and getting a test done, right?
I think before that, you should look at the food you're eating because a lot of these foods that contain gluten also have high carb. So maybe you're just consuming too much carbs. Maybe it's not the gluten is the issue, it's the crappy food you're eating. So before you even see a doctor, just look at what you're eating and try to eliminate some carbs.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times after you eat a lot of carbs, a lot of pasta, imagine, having a pasta night, before a sport. You go home, you're bloated, you're uncomfortable. That's because you ate a lot of carbs, not necessarily the pasta.
Yeah, you got to be conscious of it. Just start writing down what you eat and notice when your symptoms occur and they start connecting the dots. Like, what did I eat for this to happen? And start looking at start correlating the foods and eliminate that and see how you feel.
Yeah, literally take one food at a time. Avoid one food for a week. See if that changes anything. If it doesn't, try it again, and then just go on the process. If you're eating white bread, change to black bread or brown bread. It still might have gluten in it, but maybe just the white bread had too much carbs in it.
Yeah,
and it was slowing you down.
Let's get into this. One little statistic here. So according to the Consumer Reports, 63% of Americans believe that a gluten-free diet will improve their mental and physical well-being.
Yeah.
Were you part of that statistic?
I was not. When I heard about the gluten diet, or gluten-free diet, first of all, I was like, why are we doing this? And it said celiac disease. And I was like, I have celiac disease. I'm like, first of all, I haven't even heard of celiac disease when it first came out. So I'm like, that's probably pretty rare. And like you said, it is 1%.
Yeah, but a lot of people have this intuition of, if this person is avoiding it and it's helping them, then maybe it's good for me.
All right. I mean, that's true. That's kind of how fads start as well. That people push this agenda, that gluten-free is healthier for you. Stop being gluten-free. It's the one that's bulking you up, slowing you down, and giving you all these issues, diarrhea. Yeah, I mean, that's probably not the reason, but the fact that you eliminated all these foods that you were eating before, that's what's helped your GI issues, not necessarily the gluten-free part. You just cut down your carbs, stop eating as much bread and pasta, and guess what? Now you feel better. Oh, for sure, I have celiac disease in that case. Like, no. Did you diagnose it? Is it a diagnosis? No.
And remember, the law of attraction, sometimes you could bring on disease is what I'm starting to research. Yeah. If you think you have something, it's somehow gonna, come into life in reality. The law of attraction, man. You could bring on disease through your mind.
Yeah, you definitely
so you have to be very careful with your dialogue. Yeah.
Well, with many diseases, this disease has a test. So if you go to your doctor and you get your blood tested, they could tell you if you have celiac disease or not. They have a serum blood test that looks for antibodies of the gluten, I guess. And that's what they test for. And there's also a genetic testing where they find genetic markers, and they'll tell you if you have it or not.
Yeah.
So like I'm saying, if somebody tells me, hey, yeah, I self-diagnosed myself with celiac disease, I'm like, no, you don't self-diagnose. You can't self-diagnose yourself with celiac disease. You got to run your blood. You got to see your genetics if you have it. You can just say, oh, I have celiac disease.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah, just because you have diarrhea and bloating once in a while. I'm like, yeah, that shit happens to me too. I'm sure it happens to you, man. After a long, doing a lot of activity.
Spicy food.
Yeah, hit a meal before you work out. You drink your pre-workout, and then your heart rate's pumping because you're lifting weights. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have a wet stool afterwards. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it works. You know, not necessarily because I had gluten.
It's just your overreactive bowel.
Yeah.
And we also have to take into consideration the food industries. So in 2016 alone, they spent $15.5 billion on gluten-free products. So this diet is also driven by not only social media and all these celebrities going gluten-free and they're losing weight and they're feeling good. So that's like a fad. It's also very consumer, driven by, marketing. What is it? Retail, manufacturing, all these companies that have a little piece of the pie to make money.
Yeah. That's how it works. Whoever has the most marketing money or marketing dollars is probably going to do better than a person that doesn't. Unless you have a genuine product or some genuine research.
Yeah. So the two people that should avoid gluten,
Yeah.
it's people with celiac disease or it's anybody that's gluten sensitive. So that would be basically getting a little allergy test done on your skin to see if you have a wheat allergy. So if you're allergic to wheat, you might be gluten sensitive and you should also maybe go gluten free.
Yeah.
And celiac. That's it.
You could go cold turkey if you want, but sometimes all it takes is just decreasing some bread that you eat. Then it usually brings it down. Or what happens is you consume a lot of gluten at one time and then it flares up. And the next day you feel better. Or maybe not the next day, but probably 2 or 3 days after that. And you just notice that happening every time you eat these gluten filled foods, and it slows you down. So you might not be gluten, you might not need any gluten free, but like I said, with sensitivity, you could just decrease your gluten and you'll be fine. But it's probably the carbs.
It's the carbs. And if anybody that's wondering, that's like this little science nerd, what they're exactly checking for in order to check for, what is it called? Celiac disease. It's an antibody protein that indicates an immune reaction to gluten.
Yeah. Have you gotten an allergy test done before?
No.
I did when I was younger, but I had the super basic one.
I don't know what a super basic one is.
There's different tiers and different quality of the tests. And mine had some I don't remember what they were, but it had like 2 pages worth of stuff. I'm like, how does it make sense? Like, one of them said grass. All right, I've played in grass.
It's funny as hell.
It's so weird, yeah.
It's funny as hell when I read the patient's chart and says I'm allergic to grass.
Yeah, right.
You can't go outside.
Yeah.
Breathe grass in and you're messed up,
Yeah,
man.
you might just stay here. We'll just keep put you in TB room and just filter the air. And,
What's a funny allergy did you notice?
I'm trying to think. A lot of I see is food allergies for the most part, but that's by choice.
And what about tuna oil? I had one that tuna oil.
I never had tuna
just
oil.
some goofy stuff.
I never had tuna oil. But I had a lady with 6 different vegetables on there, and she just didn't like them. She couldn't have spinach, any kind of greens. Her plate came with no vegetables at all, no tomatoes, no nothing. It was 6 vegetables on there.
And also sometimes patients that have these allergies in their chart, sometimes it's a side effect of what they consumed, and it's not even a real allergy.
Right.
I'm trying to think of a funny one. It's just
yeah, it's all right. If you think of it, we'll come back to it.
NSAIDs, bleeding. Something very goofy. You might bleed a little bit when you cut yourself, it's a side effect.
Yeah. So why do you think this is so popular, though? We talk about a lot of marketing to do with that, right?
It's probably the celebrities. They've brought it up. It's the industry, what they're paying. It's nowadays, which I think we should cover next week, keto diet. When I went to the vitamin shop, there was literally 2 full rows of keto supplements and everything like that. So gluten was probably a fad, man.
Yeah, I completely agree that gluten's a fad. There's actually one guy nurse where I work at. He's pretty swole and he does keto. He does keto and then keto. I forgot what keto was, but it's actually high protein, low carb, right? Necessarily keto and high fat. That's how it works. And I mean, dude looks pretty well. I mean, if I was to judge another man, he's decent. I wonder how these CrossFit athletes or athletes in general. I wonder what kind of diets they use. Do they eat everything?
So one thing I found that supposedly it's not evidence that athletes that eat gluten-free are actually able to have more endurance and strength. But they haven't completely tested it, but that's what athletes are also a little category of people that don't eat gluten for that aspect.
But is it because they're eliminating a lot of high carb foods maybe? We gotta get athlete on here. LeBron. Should get LeBron on here. Maybe we'll see. Maybe LeBron will get one of our ads.
If you guys help us, grow and
or maybe one of LeBron's kids are going to become nurses. Yo, LeBron, if your daughter or someone want to be a nurse, we got you, man. Yeah.
We got a course just for her.
And we got a basketball court next door, so you can go ahead, drop your kid off, and then we can just go play ball. All right. Matt will teach. I'll play ball. I got you.
Do You crack me up, man. So where we got all our information about gluten, it was an independent peer-reviewed journal of gastrology and hepatology that looked at countless studies that made this correlation that gluten-free doesn't really show any evidence to help our population that does not have celiacs or gluten sensitivity.
Yeah, like a lot of these foods that you're going to avoid because you're going to try and eat gluten-free, they're fortified. They're fortified with vitamins and nutrients.
Like if you ever look at the cereal box, guys, and you see like niacin, vitamin A, C, B, like thiamine, all that stuff is
iron,
fortified
yeah.
with gluten products. And if you go gluten-free, you are risking being malnourished because of that.
Yeah, especially if you go gluten-free and you properly didn't research the subject and foods that you could switch out for other ones, you're going to be in that trap where you're not going to know what to eat, so you're just going to avoid the whole subgroup.
Yeah.
Like you're going to avoid the grains in general because you're not sure if they have gluten or not. You're not going to know what kind of grains to eat because, like you said, you're eating gluten-free. So you're going to miss out. Like Matt said, a lot of cereals are fortified, a lot of grains are fortified, a lot of rice are fortified. Milk's fortified. A lot of foods are fortified for a reason because people consume a lot of them. And that's one way to get all those micronutrients in you.
Yeah, so that's one potential harm. And also, they're linking that when you go gluten-free, you tend to consume a higher fat diet for some reason. So you're risking hyperlipidemia, you're risking hyperglycemia because of that, coronary artery disease, and also financial costs that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, this actually reminds me of the time when we decided to go vegan.
That was a good time.
And like, it was cool when we were in like Colorado and California, but once we came back here to Chicago, we did this last year. So being vegan wasn't as big as it is now. So
it's still big, man.
It's big now, but it wasn't as big before.
Okay.
But now it's huge. But we didn't really know what to eat because we didn't have as much options as we did over there back in California. So we tried to go vegan, and like as soon as we got here, we were good for like 3 days, and then slowly over time, we saw that we had an increase in Oreo consumption.
Sugar, fat.
Which is sugar because they're vegan. So I could just eat them all the time.
Yeah.
I think I'm being healthy, right? I'm not eating meat. I'm not eating kind of anything living, anything from an animal. So, I'm super healthy. So I'm just gonna chew with these Oreos. But it was like a case a day, easy, double stuffed. With some peanut butter. You know what I'm saying? That was good. It was fun times.
So yeah. So technically you're vegan, but you're abusing the diet and not consuming, plants and.
But damn, did I miss meat, man?
Did you miss
Yeah.
meat? I think I miss cheese more than anything when I went vegan.
But we had
I
the
love
vegan
cheese,
cheese,
guys, so much.
Yeah, I put vegan cheese at every single meal, just so I could taste something
The
different.
diet cheese.
Yeah, the diet cheese.
It had a weird smell.
Yeah, but dude, what's really good? Jackfruit. Jackfruit like barbecue. It was like pulled pork. I would eat my gluten-free buns. I had gluten-free pasta. That's when I found out about 0 calorie and 0 carb pasta.
One time, this Filipino nurse brought like a whole jackfruit. Like I'm telling you, these things are freaking. It's like 10 pineapples, 1 jackfruit. It's such a huge thing.
Yeah, we saw that in California
it's
too.
Like a pumpkin.
Right. It's interesting. Yeah, that's pretty cool. We should have bought one. Damn it.
Yeah. So since we're talking about like consumption and food, one thing I found it was a cost comparison analysis of gluten-free products versus gluten-containing products in 2 large grocery stores. They compared 56 different products. What they found is the average price of a gluten-free product was $1.71, and a gluten-free or gluten-containing product was $1.61. So on average, gluten-free products were 242% more expensive than regular products.
So the gluten-free was $1.71 and the gluten-filled was 61 cents?
It was a mean. So they took analysis of all 56 different products and they did a mean study.
Yeah, those were 0.61 cents compared to 171.
So 242 more percent.
Damn.
Yet with no extra benefits. So you guys are paying more money for gluten-free products and it doesn't serve you any more health.
No, it actually makes your health worse because you're forgetting to eat those key ingredients and you're not getting all those micronutrients.
Yeah.
Macronutrients.
What would make you more healthy is if you're switching over to more vegetables. If you're going gluten-free and you're going more like a plant-based diet, you're reaping benefits. Right. But if you're just switching over to the same old sugary products that gluten products are, they got the gluten, you're spending more money and you're not reaping any extra benefits.
Right. If you're going from like flour-filled chocolate cake, to Oreos, it's not gonna do you much
No,
good.
if you're going from, you said a gluten chocolate cake, which made out of flour,
And
to
to gluten-free
whole
Oreos.
wheat flour,
Yeah.
like it's not doing anything
yeah,
better.
yeah.
But yet it says gluten free.
That's something, man. It's
That's
free.
that's definitely a fad, guys.
Don't
This
fall for a
myth
trap.
is debunked. I wish we had the gavel to just hit it to kind of.
Do you have the gavel here, or is that my house?
I have no idea.
Well,
We should bring it onto the show. It'd be pretty cool, man.
So we should end the episodes.
Yeah.
Gavel. You've been served. You've been nursed.
You've been nursed, guys. I think we kind of dragged this episode on a little bit.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm sure people will enjoy it.
Yeah, we're having a good time, guys. If you guys like these little long form, goofy videos, or if we go on analytics and we see an increase in duration time because of this kind of stuff, we'll promote more of that stuff.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for listening to us. Subscribe, tell your friends, tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your mom, tell your dad. Spread the good news about us. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, get your blood checked for estrogen. Get your blood checked for gluten intolerance.
And if it's good,
All right.
eat that shit. Gluten's good. Have a good day, guys.
See you guys.